Welcome back to Charlie's Mailbox, where I answer actual questions from actual people in my inbox. This week's question is, what is Gemini? And it came from someone who noticed that Gemini is an app that now appears among other Google apps. Very timely question, as we are now making it available to all adults across CVSD, as well as students at CVU. To find Gemini, you can look in the so-called waffle of applications over here, and yours might be in a different order than mine, but somewhere in here, you're now going to see Gemini. The other way that you can get there, as with any Google app, is you can simply start typing its name, and here we have gemini.google.com. When you first load the page, it may look different than what I have here, but eventually you'll get to a page that looks like this. So what is it? Gemini is Google's AI chatbot. So think of ChatGPT or Perplexity, but this has huge benefits. One, it's part of our core services and therefore has data privacy built in. So you can use this logged in with your school account, as I am right now, as can students at CVU. As with any chatbot, I can enter a prompt. In this case, I asked, please help me design an activity for teaching high school students about quadratic functions, etc. And here was the result that I got back, an idea for an activity with the materials and the procedure, etc. Even had a nice little bit here on differentiation strategies, assessment strategies, etc. And of course, when using chatbots, you want to follow up, you want to refine this. So I asked, what software would you recommend for graphing? My students have Chromebooks. And here's the answer that it gave me. Or maybe I want to follow up some more about differentiation strategies for specific types of students that I have in my class. I think you get the idea. So you've seen this sort of thing before if you've ever used ChatGPT or Perplexity. I'd like to show you a few additional features that are really nice with Gemini. One of them is if you come down to these three dots right here, there's this nice piece called double check response. And if I click on it, Google is going to Google. It's going to look up essentially what it gave as a result, and it's going to highlight in green anything it finds verification for, let's say, on the internet. And it's going to highlight in red anything where it finds maybe there's some contradictory evidence. And in this case, everything is green, or the things that are highlighted are green. And for example, here, it works seamlessly in our web browser, making it perfect for Chromebooks. I can actually click on the pull down arrow, and it actually shows you where it found backup for that. And I can click on that link and I can read the article myself if I would like. Of course, if we saw some red in there, that would be great conversation about what did it get wrong, what are some other viewpoints, etc. So that's a really nice piece right there. Let me show you a few tools that are super convenient. One of them is when you get a response, you can click on this share and export. And one of the options is to export to Docs. And what's great about that is it makes a brand new Google Doc. It gives you the link down here. I can just click on it. And it just saves me the trouble of having to do the copying and pasting. And importantly, it keeps the formatting, which with other chatbots can be a problem with copying and pasting. So here's my doc ready to go for me to work on it. You also have the option to listen to the response rather than read through the three-dot menu here, as well as using the microphone to speak your prompt. Can you provide instructions for students in Swahili? And here now are my Swahili instructions. Notice down here in the prompt area, There are a few additional features. One of them is that you can add files. So you can attach a file from Drive or from your downloads or even an image and make that part of your prompt. There's also deep research that does more traditional research and provides links to references, which can be very helpful. Canvas is more for when you're trying to either create a document or write some code, and it's just sort of pre-set up to make that easier to do. That leads us into one last thing we should talk about, and that is gems. So you see down here we have Gem Manager. To understand what gems are, you may recall having done an activity that we got from AI Vermont. And in that activity, we put in a prompt where we actually gave the chatbot a role. You will play the role of an AI tutor for a high school science student, helping them meet the next gen standards. We talked about Socratic questioning, not just jumping in with all the answers. And when we ran this prompt, it did a much better job of beginning by asking the student, what science topic would you like to dive into? And it became this nice conversation rather than just a dump of information. Well, that is essentially what GEMs are. They are pre programmed with these kinds of prompts. For example, if I come down to Gem Manager and I go to Brainstormer, Brainstormer is set up to help us come up with ideas. Help me plan an activity for my middle school humanities class. We'll just leave it really wide open like that. Let's see what it says. Hey there, I'm Brainstormer, ready to spark some awesome ideas. To give you the best options, I need a little bit more information. And so, what's the goal? What are you aiming for? Do you have any constraints? I think you get the idea. If we go back to Gem Manager, you'll see there's also a gem for career guide, coding partner, etc. There's a few more here if we expand writing editor, learning coach. And what's really neat is you can create your own gem. If you click on new gem, and essentially you give the gem a name, you give it the instructions. This is where you would say, as we did with the earlier activity, you're a tutor, I want you to answer questions in this fashion, etc. You save it, and then you can use that gem. It just saves you that initial work of having to set up all of that information about the role and the style of the chat. So that's a neat one to check out as well. I hope this gave you some idea of how Gemini works. Of course, the best way to learn is to jump in and give it a try yourself. We welcome your questions and feedback. Thanks for watching and keep those questions coming.